at this point, as we head into the upcoming overnight session and tomorrow, we know that the market is now getting overextended to the upside. Yes, we've seen a very nice upside move, primarily led by the Nasdaq, and this afternoon after the close, Nvidia earnings, and there could be some follow through, but the market is definitely exhausted to the upside, and as it pushes higher, it will be running into better and better resistance since this move has been driven primarily by the Nasdaq, or at least led by the Nasdaq. I think it's going to be important and helpful to keep an eye on some areas in NQ as well. So, you can see that so far Nasdaq has taken out the high from the 15th. So if we look at the S&P, the equivalent of that would be 4517.75. So that is what NQ so far has taken out. And you can see that it's going to be running into more significant resistance here shortly. So not too far away, but there is pretty decent resistance built up as we approach the 15,000, roughly 429 to 15,500 area. Like this is pretty decent resistance. Beyond that, this swing high at 15,495 half, that's pretty decent resistance. And NQ would be getting really overdone as it pushes up there. If we look at the large swing that was in play in NQ, you can see that measuring that move, we have the 61.8 at 15,417. So the point of this is that there's a lot going on in this area, and the likelihood of Nasdaq just busting right through that area is relatively low. Even if the market is eventually going to head higher, it will likely still find sellers here. It will consolidate. This type of resistance, at the very minimum, usually will slow down the move and result in consolidation. And the market kind of needs to digest the move before it can head higher. And that's assuming that it can even head higher. It may not, right? I mean, it may just fail around the 61.8 of the entire move. It may just fail essentially in the 15,400 to 500 area. I think this is a little bit harder to take out. Now, if the market just blasts right through it, well, fine. Then we'll take that as important information as well. But typically, the market will not just, bust right through that type of resistance. So the expectation, the default scenario here is going to be to expect some consolidation, to expect responsive sellers to step in. And, this move, the swing low is all the way down here. So if we push up into 15,400 or so, let's say, right? I mean, you can see that just a 38% retracement takes us down towards the high from Tuesday, right? If we do end up pushing up, let's say, just a 38% retracement can take us down into the low 15,100s on NQ, and buyers could still step in right over here, and the move could still eventually continue to the upside. And, in the event that we push even higher into that zone, you can see still a very minor retracement can take us back down towards 15,150. So as the market pushes higher and higher, especially in this fashion, the reward to risk for new buyers jumping in is going to be less and less. And that usually results in either profit taking or shorts trying to pile in. And then, they obviously have to cover, so that creates some demand on any pullbacks that may ensue. So I think consolidation here would be the more likely scenario, but it would also be the healthier scenario for the market. Like it would be in the best interest of buyers and bulls for the market to consolidate here. If Nasdaq just continues going up in a straight line, that's not a good thing for buyers because that creates this parabolic movement that can then result in a much sharper correction. So I don't think even the bulls want to see this area get taken out swiftly. And that's yet another reason to anticipate and expect at least consolidation. So that's going to be the view on NQ. And because NASDAQ has been leading, I think that the trade setups that we take tomorrow are going to require us to keep an eye on NQ. And I think without it, we might find ourselves in either questionable trades or we might miss certain opportunities simply because we're not mindful of what's happening in NQ. I think that NASDAQ is going to serve as a very useful timing tool at the very minimum to help us time our trades, and it will help us even determine our bias going forward.